Sports Rewind Digital on a Tuesday night here in Australia and a Tuesday morning over there in the UK. Matt from Totally Sports. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. You?
Very good. I'm pretty excited about tonight, the F1 preview. I know we talked to you a bit about motorsport and F1 especially, so excited to have you on.
Yeah, it's game time now. Literally a few days and it'll be lights out and we'll have David Croft screaming down the commentary.
Yeah, mate, it's a massive week at Melbourne. I know most of the different tracks have the Thursday to Sunday sort of thing like they do here in Melbourne, but we've got V8, you've got Porsche Cup, you've got everything going on here in Melbourne this weekend. So
yeah,
it's going to be exciting.
Looking at the forecast earlier, I don't know how accurate it is over here, but it says 70% chance of rain on Sunday in Melbourne.
Yeah. Supposedly,
That'll throw a spanner in the works because it always causes chaos.
I know on your live stream today you talked about the Gold Coast copping it up there with the cyclone, and I know down south here we copped a little bit of rain and wind for a couple of days, but yeah, Melbourne's pretty renowned for their rain, so I think it will rain over the weekend, but we'll see, mate. Hopefully not. Hopefully it stays dry. Pretty big schedule. 10 a.m. Thursday kicks off, and I think 10 past 10 is Porsche Cup time. They do a track walk for 10 minutes and Porsche Cup's on, and then they've got, Formula 2 and different V8 stuff during the day, and Formula 3 as well. So massive start to the week on a Thursday there in Melbourne. So
yeah, and obviously have massive vibes and everyone will be buzzing because it's finally the start, because this off-season just seems to have taken forever this year.
Plenty going on in the off-season.
Yeah, they had not like last year, though. I mean, last year we had the old pipe bomb of Lewis quitting Mercedes, and I think all of us were maybe kind of expecting something to happen with Verstappen, and it never happened. So it's been a bit calmer than last year, but that's to be expected with everything, all big changes for next year.
Are you excited about Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari?
Yes and no. It's good to see him, hopefully, in a good car. The only thing is it now they're talking about the fact that Ferrari might have slipped to fourth fastest and that Mercedes have leapfrogged them. So it's just bloody typical that as soon as he's gone and left Mercedes, now they might have got their arse in gear and actually got up there. So it's just typical, isn't it?
It is. I really hope they do find a fast car. I know you were talking today on your live stream about Max Verstappen saying he's ruling out, winning week in round one, blah, blah, blah. And what was the talk about them detuning their cars a little to appear a little slower? What's that all about?
Well, there's question marks on whether Red Bull and Ferrari have been sandbagging, because I find it hard to believe that Red Bull have lost that much pace, because they started sorting themselves out towards the end. Yeah, they had a dodgy mid-24, but they started sorting themselves out towards the end of last year. The worrying signs for Red Bull is the fact that they were still doing Flovis paint on their car in the last hour of the 3-day test. No team usually does that unless they've got issues, and their technical director, Pierre Wash, has said that the car ain't great, but I don't know. I think they're blagging it. I don't want Max Verstappen to come out and blitz everyone, but I've got a feeling they're blagging it. And with Ferrari, there's a suspicion now that they've been turning their engines down, which hopefully is right for Lewis.
Hope so. I'd really love to see Lewis Hamilton win with Ferrari. Not that I'm a big Ferrari fan or anything like that, but big fan of Lewis Hamilton and what he's done in the sport over the years.
It'd be nice to see him get that 8th title. That's more than anything, if he can just crack that record and also shut the doubters up and say, no, I've done it. But he's got a tough teammate in Charles Leclerc alongside him. It's going to be a real hard challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Seen one of your posts, I think it was, might have been last week, about Lewis Hamilton saying he's, got no kids, got no wife. He's going to be good to go till he's 50 in an F1 car. That'd be pretty insane, wouldn't it?
All Premier Sports nowadays, they all last longer because sports science is just making them last longer, isn't it? You look at Alonso now, he's like early 40s.
Yeah. Mate, big week of F1. It is the first race. Some rookies this year let's go through the teams because the teams are definitely not like what they were last year. That's for sure.
No,
I'm pulling up the teams here now. I'm going to try to present it here on share screen. If it goes wrong, mate, I'll just shut it down. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the team. So let's start over at Alpine.
Yeah.
And mate, there's there. Jack Doohan. How good's that?
Yeah, you've got your boy Jack Doohan there. Don't know for how long though. That's the only worrying concern for him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how long he'll last there. Let's hope he does. I mean, it'd be great to see for us another Australian do well, but time will tell in that. And
he's got a bit of a spiky attitude to him because I think he's getting a bit fed up with the whole questions all the time about Colapinto. The only good thing that might have done him a bit of favour is I was reading just before we come on air, which I'll cover in a video later on today, was that apparently Colapinto's Argentinian fans have been slagging off Alpine on social media. And his managers turned around and said, you might actually be doing more harm than good.
Wow. That's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so it might do Doohan a favour because they reckon he's only got a 5-race deal. But hopefully, he certainly seems to have gone well in pre-season testing. He was close to Gasly.
Five races is not much in the F1. It's
No.
I mean, perform or go home, isn't it? So I know you talked about it earlier in one of your live streams, maybe about a month back, about him having a short leash, and he's definitely on a short leash. He's perform or go home.
He is.
Aston Martin. I can't believe that Stroll is still there.
Yeah, as long as Daddy still owns the team, he is the epitome of a pay driver.
Still paying the bills. Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso. What are you thinking of Alonso this year?
He don't look happy. If Bahrain's anything to go by, then it looks like Aston Martin has slipped down to potentially between 7th and 9th quickest out of the 10 teams. And they don't look good, and he looks peed off in the back of the garage. He don't look happy at all. And he's already starting to make subtle hints already that 2026 is going to be his final season, potentially ahead of a Max Verstappen move in 27.
Wow. There you go. Yeah, he doesn't look very happy, mate, from what I've seen either. So, I don't know. Good luck to him. I really like him. How old's he now? He'd be mid-40s, wouldn't he?
42 now, I think he is. I think he's just
42.
about, he's either turned or just about on 43, I think. Yeah. So, he's getting on a bit.
So, he wouldn't have too many seasons left. So,
no.
Ferrari, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. I tell you what, Lewis Hamilton does look good in red, though.
Still takes some getting used to, though. It's a bit weird.
It is a bit weird. Their livery's a little bit different this year, too. It's got that big HP sign on it.
I've got a video. 1 second. Certainly got some decent sponsors on the car this year. They've got a lot of backing because the other new sponsor they've got this year is IBM as well.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes, Sailor.
Number house are you?
We're not going to tell that over the internet, dude.
What number?
We're not talking about his number over here, okay?
Is it 10?
10. Yep, 10.
What street?
Robert.
No.
All right, you saying hello? His thing, Matt, is numbers, and you tell him the number of your house, and he will never, ever forget it. Funny story.
Could do with that when I have a night out.
Yeah. One of the kids, and I was going to pick up one of my girls from their friend's house. I was like, oh, whereabouts? What do I got to go? And he just comes straight out and goes, yeah, 15, blah, blah, blah.
That's it.
Yeah, he's all over it. All over it. But yeah, Ferrari. I really hope they do well, but you're saying 4 fastest possibly, mate.
Yeah, that's the kind of indications at the moment, but hopefully the little whispers. I think it was Ted Kravitz on Sky Sports over here was saying that he reckons that Ferrari are sandbagging, but there are serious concerns that Mercedes have jumped him, which ain't going to be great for Lewis, especially because they've got a hotshot Italian in that Mercedes this year.
Yeah. We'll get to them in a second. Haas. Team Haas. Couple of, Esteban Ocon's been there for quite some time, but Ollie Bierman, mate.
Yeah, I've got to support him.
I think he's going to go all right.
Yeah, I've got to support him. This young lad. I'm not. I don't know. I'm on the fence about him. But he only lives, or he's born 20 minutes down the road from me. He's a Chelmsford lad in Essex, so he's quite a local lad. I should kind of support him. I don't know though. I think I didn't see anything from him last year in Formula 2. A bit like Antonelli that sort of screamed out F1 ready. I know he had a fantastic appearance for Ferrari at Saudi Arabia, but then he did have a really bad weekend in Brazil for Haas. So we've kind of seen both ends of the spectrum. But I think this is going to be potentially one of the weakest lineups of the 2025 season. Yeah.
Esteban Ocon's done not much either in the past few years, whether that's the car or him, mate. But yeah, they haven't done a lot, have they?
He's just a bad teammate. He's just not a team player, Gasly. That's Ocon. That's the problem with Ocon. He's prone to crashing into his teammates. He's not very good at working together. And spoiler alert for Drive to Survive. Obviously, you see how he was booted out of Alpine, and I think that kind of says it all, really.
Yeah. Drive to Survive, that's been good. I've only watched a couple of episodes so far, so I'm keen to get back into the next few. Our next team,
a very good series.
Our next team, the Stake, the Sauber Kick.
Yeah, definitely the back markers of 2025 Stake. They're not going to be in for a great season at all.
Nico and can you pronounce his name for me?
Gabriel Bortoletto, who I've got marked as the Rookie of the Year. I think there's something special about that kid.
He's your Rookie of the Year.
I think so. He's not going to have the machinery, unfortunately, to prove it. But I think he'll be close to Nico Hülkenberg. And you got to have something special to be back-to-back Formula 3 and Formula 2 champions like Leclerc and Hamilton, etc., that have all stepped up, and Piastri over the years. So I think he's got that something special.
Yeah, it'll be a good one to watch, especially kicking off in Melbourne. First race, hopefully, he goes all right.
Hopefully. I think we're pretty much locked in that they're going to be 19th and 20th at the back of the grid, barring any grid penalties.
Yeah. Hopefully proves us all wrong and goes all right. Gets a decent car. The next team, mate, I think you've got as your number one team this year. I really hope you're right, because I'm a big fan of Oscar in the 81 and Lando Norris in the 4 car.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year for Australia versus UK, I reckon.
I tell you what, Lando Norris had a great season last year. After he got his, got his first win and then got another one, but yeah, he did well.
He did. The only thing with Lando is there's just that little question mark of, has he got that killer instinct? And I think that could be the difference between him and Oscar. Oscar does. He seems to have that instinct of that he will work as a team if he's told to, but he's also prepared to work for himself, whereas Lando's too much of a nice guy.
Yeah. No, fair enough. As an Aussie, I really hope Oscar does come through this weekend, and I'll be supporting him to go through, and I hope Mick Doohan gets in the points. Sorry, not Mick Doohan. I hope Jack Doohan gets in the points. It'd be great to see him in the top 10. That'd be something special, being at home for his first one, and it'd be interesting to see.
Definitely.
What else have we got here? These couple of lads here for Mercedes.
Yeah, we've
George
got
Russell. And here's your mate, Antonelli.
Yeah, young 18-year-old kid alongside Woody from Toy Story.
I love it.
Not overly a fan of George Russell. He's all right, but he's too prone to making mistakes and errors, and I don't think he's the greatest in. Well, even in Drive to Survive, they even questioned, and they had a big episode devoted to it where even they questioned whether he could be a team leader. And I'm just not. I think he's a stopgap. Although he's been linked this week with Cadillac, which is going to be a bit of a strange one if he decided to take that one.
I didn't know that. That would be really weird. I mean, having a brand new team, brand new car, that sort of thing, it's a big risk, isn't it? I mean, you're coming from Mercedes. I don't know. Would you do it? Or is Mercedes outing him?
I think the problem is that if Mercedes got even a slightest sniff and an inkling that they could get hold of Max Verstappen, it would be George that would make way, because they're putting too much effort into Antonelli. Antonelli's got a lot to prove this year. I think personally it's a bit too much too soon. You know, I know Verstappen came up 17 years old and blew everybody away, but with Antonelli, he just seems to like the barriers too much. So, you know, but Toto Wolff, the Mercedes team principal, has got too much FOMO. He missed out on Verstappen. He doesn't want to miss out on Antonelli, so he's not going to give up on him. And if they get Verstappen in any way in the future, it will be George that will be booted out. And he was linked with Audi last year. Now he's being linked with Cadillac, but it'd be a huge step down the grid because Cadillac's only going to be a customer team. Yeah.
Interesting. Antonelli was my pick for the Rookie of the Year. So yeah. I hope he stays off the fence.
I think he's going to be very, very quick. From what we've seen so far, I think he could even do, towards the end of the season, he could even do Russell in qualifying. But it's his race performances and his crash errors that's going to be the issue.
I think he might be a little bit of Ricky Bobby. If you have
Ricky Bobby.
The Racing Bulls. Oh, mate. Here we go. What do you think of the Racing Bulls this year? I haven't seen much to do with their car at all this year.
Yeah, I mean, the team's going through a transition period because it looks like their spiritual home, which used to be the old Minardi team, is closing in Italy eventually. They've just moved on to the Red Bull campus in Milton Keynes. So I think 2025 is very much a transition year for the team. They've got the weakest driver lineup on the grid, without a doubt. That's nothing against Yuki Tsunoda. I think he's a cracker. But Honda seem to have said this week that he's on his own now. They're not going to personally sponsor him. So it looks like he's high and dry for next year. And Isaac Hadjar, runner-up in Formula 2 last year. But he's the only thing we're going to get great content from for this season out of these two is on the radio. They both like a rant and a swear down the radio.
I was about to say, they get fined now for that, though, don't they?
They do. Yeah, Max Verstappen's already got the FIA on his back because I don't know who it was, but he gave someone the finger and the FIA want to fine him already.
Unreal. Yeah, that was the best thing about Drive to Survive was Yuki Tsunoda on the two-way.
Yeah, he loves a rant. He seems to have calmed down, but now they've got the next hot-headed one in the car now.
Nice. I haven't had too much to do with him, so I'll have to have a look. And Yuki's always good, though. I've always loved his rants, and I follow him on the different socials, and he's always having a rant about something.
Yeah. The only thing I would say with Hadjar is if I was to bet for the first season sacking, it's going to be him because Red Bull got big hopes about their young kid coming through called Arvid Lindblad.
Okay.
And he's just got enough super license points because he raced in New Zealand recently, and he's ready to go. And Helmut Marko's already saying that he's the next Max Verstappen. So if Hadjar don't perform, he'll be out by the end of the year.
Yeah. Speaking of the license, I've seen a post today about how much it costs each individual driver to renew their F1 license. It seems it goes off last year's earnings. Is that how it works?
Yeah, last year's earnings. And I think, if I remember right as well, I think your position in the championship also determines it as well. So poor old Max Verstappen's going to be a bit light on change, but he's just bought himself a new private jet, so I don't think he's short of a few bob.
Yeah, no, I think he's doing all right. I think it was over £1 million. It was like £1.1 million or something just for his license to race. Insane.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. That's why they're asking now where all of this money's going into the FIA, because you've got all of these fines and you've got all of these penalties that they have to pay for. Where's all the money going?
It's going into the people to watch Yuki swear and find out who said what.
Yeah, bleep button.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
It is.
The Red Bull team. New look Red Bull team, Liam Lawson and Max Verstappen.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Lawson, mate, what's your thoughts on him?
He's got that edge. I think he could be the first teammate in a good few years to give Max Verstappen a run for his money. Red Bull clearly rate him. I think he'll do all right. I think he'll pop up with a race win this year, even though he's been told he's clearly number 2 driver to support Max. But what's you guys' opinions on a New Zealander being a race-winning car?
We'll claim he's as Australian. He's pretty close to Australia, so very similar flag. So we'll just cover up one of the stars on the flag and we'll say he's one of ours. No, I think it's great. I think he'll do well. And I think Red Bull, as you said, are double down on him, and it's going to be great to see him in action.
Yeah, there's a lot of hopes on him.
Yeah, there is. One more team, and it's the Williams team, mate.
Team Willie.
Might put it up on the screen. New sponsor.
Yeah, Atlassian, isn't it? It's pronounced.
Yeah, I believe so. Albon and Carlos Sainz. How good?
Strongest driver lineup amongst the second half of the grid, certainly. Obviously, Carlos Sainz is brilliant. I think the guy that's going to be under pressure, though, is Alex Albon, because he's had Team Willie as all as his own, because he's not really had a good teammate for the past 3 years, and now all of a sudden he's going to be under pressure. So we're going to see how good Albon really is.
What about the car in testing? Has it been better or?
Seems to be. I think I don't believe a team that was 9th quickest last year all of a sudden is then just leapfrog to the front of the midfield. I think Alpine have got that, especially as the problems that Williams had last year with the lack of parts and writing off cars left, right, and centre. They've carried a lot over from last year, which has given them a solid platform just to hedge their bets. But I don't think they're 5th or, I think they'd even struggle to be 6th fastest team this year.
Yeah.
Some people are saying it could be a race winner this year. I don't see it. Solid point scorers. And I think Carlos Sainz, if he gets a sniff of a decent podium, perhaps, then maybe in a wet race. But I think they've done a few glory runs in testing, I think.
Okay. I'd love to see Sainz up there. I loved how he battled last year. Battled after he sort of got told that he doesn't have a seed. And then, last year, as we talked about, he won Melbourne after having his appendix out. It was like 6 days after or something, wasn't it? Or something.
Something daft like that. It wasn't long after that. And, he showed true grit and determination last year. Personally, I think he should have got the Mercedes seat. He was never going to go to Red Bull because obviously him and Verstappen don't get on, or the dads don't. But I think he should have got the Mercedes seat. And I think Sainz is far too much of a good driver to be driving for a team like Williams. Yeah,
I agree there. I guess we'll see if there's any sort of change. Did he do a 2-year deal?
Sainz? 3, apparently. He signed up for 3 years, apparently. But I thought he would have gone for the Audi project. But because of the chaos that was going on last year, he didn't fancy it. But that will be the one to bank on in the future. That Audi will win because they win in everything. So I think he's made a bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with Audi. So when are they? 27 or 26?
26. This is the last year of the god-awful state branding, thank God. Okay. And then they morph into Audi next year. So we'll have 3 new brands, because we'll have Audi, we'll have Cadillac, and we'll have Ford as well.
Okay. Who's the... I didn't know about Ford either. There you go.
Yeah, they're lining up with Red Bull. So it'll be Red Bull Ford from 2026.
Ugh, fair enough. I know they've... in the V8 supercars, the Ampol Red Bull team have just switched next year to the Ford Mustang as well. So nice. Interesting. So it's obviously a whole wide thing with Red Bull Racing. So going all the way with Ford. So
yeah, well, Red Bull also heavily sponsor the Ford World Rally team as well. So I think they're kind of in bed with each other. So when they fell out with trying to get Porsche on board last year, apparently, according to the stuff I read over here, Ford picked up the phone to Christian Horner and said, do you want us to join you?
All right then.
So like, okay, give us the millions.
Well, I know over here, Triple Eight Engineering, one of the big sort of back in the day, they had a bit of the Red Bull team with that, and Craig Lowndes retired today. Will announce his retirement from Triple Eight Engineering because he's the ambassador for GM, so he'll be going forward with the Chev next year, and Triple Eight Engineering going to the Ford. So he parted ways after 20 years. So
I see
massive
that.
one.
He's been with them 20 years, isn't he?
Yep. 2005 he started with them. So big one for him. I think he's racing Bathurst this year. I can't remember who he was with. He was with one of the rookies. So that'll be good. Hopefully, and finish a race and get a decent finish. I don't think we'll see him at the top, but
yeah, because he's 50 years old now, isn't he? So he's getting on a bit because he went part-time a few years ago. Because I see the breaking news come up this morning. I was like, oh, that's a big old name from even when we used to get the coverage of the V8s over here. And obviously Triple Eight we know over here well because there used to be a British touring car team over here many, many years ago until they went out of business over here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lowndes is still driving in the 12-hour and stuff like that. He crashed out this year, but it's rare to see him crash at Bathurst. But, yeah, he had a V8 supercar team that he was with, and they crashed out early. So, sad to see that one. It's always good to see Lowndesy doing well. Mate, what else have I got here? Verstappen ruling that win out. I just don't know. I think it's all bullshit, really, isn't it? Like he's just playing. Yeah. You're coming off a 2023 where he was unstoppable, and then last year, still won the championship. You can't. I just don't. You can't be ruling yourself out for week one coming into a new season.
Nah, I think they're playing a very clever game because if McLaren are as strong as they looked in pre-season testing, where on a race run supposedly they were 32 seconds quicker, I mean that's going to be shocking. Then both Oscar and Lando are just going to go and run away and hide. And I think the battle at the front could be between Oscar at home and Lando. And the thing is with this year, I mean, I said it all the way through last year with Oscar is that I think he's got more potential than what Lando has. Because being this is only his third year in the sport, and look how close he is already. And I think Lando's done 6 or 7 years. So the potential of Oscar is more, and he's got that streak. So that maybe is why Max is playing it safe a little bit and saying, oh, we can't win it because maybe they're seeing that McLaren are so far ahead. But I don't know. You don't go from winning 4 championships on the bounce to all of a sudden having a shit box. It just don't work like that.
Yeah. I don't see it either, but I guess playing mind games is all part of the sport, isn't it? So we'll see what happens. Let's get some predictions. Let's talk predictions for this weekend. I know I've heard yours already, so I'll spit mine out. I'm going to go very similar to what you are, except I'm going to go Oscar to come second. I'm going to have Lando on top, but I'm going to have Sainz in there for third. I think we're going to have a wet track, and I think he's just going to go off.
Yeah, I don't know. Myself personally, as I said in my review last night, I think it's going to be Oscar's going to come out. I think he's going to have the home crowd behind him, which is going to give him that extra couple of tenths. So I'll put him down for the win. I've got Lando second. Lando's going to be on pole. I think qualifying pace he's still going to have Oscar this year. And third, if it's a wet race, I'll go Lewis.
Yeah, nice. Lewis.
Hopefully.
I'd love to see him up there. What about constructor championship for the year? Who are you thinking?
It's got to be McLaren. It's got to be McLaren. I can't see them giving it up this year. They'd have to do something horrendously wrong now to lose it. It's just the Drivers' Championship they could go and shoot themselves in the foot with.
Yeah. Fair. Second and third. I'm with you with McLaren. I'm thinking Red Bull in the second and Ferrari third is my thoughts.
Yeah, I think Ferrari are going to be a slow bloomer this year because they've changed their front suspension. But I think once they get on top of that, whether they are sandbagging or whether they are in a little bit of trouble when they get used to their car, I don't know. But I think Ferrari will get second. And I'm hoping that Mercedes get third and Red Bull go down to fourth. But that's just my own personal pleasure.
That would be awesome.
I don't like Red Bull.
You're talking about the different suspension in the Ferrari. I know I read a few things with Lewis saying he had to change his driving style completely. That'll be pretty hard to do after however many years he's been in Mercedes and that different style, changing that style. They don't really have many test days, do they, to sort this out?
No, well, he only had 100 kilometres of private testing, and then he's had a day and a half of a 3-day test. So he's not had much at all. So it's going to be a tough start for him to get used to everything. He's got the front suspension, brakes he's never used as well, the new brake supply that Ferrari use, new steering wheel, although apparently he's told Ferrari to change the steering wheel to copy it like Mercedes. And there's something going on as well. They haven't really revealed what it is, but Red Bull have requested that the FIA take a look at Lewis Hamilton's car specifically at Ferrari. So there's something they're not happy about, which there's already murmurings of we could get a couple of protests in Australia, which would be typical F1. We're all gunning to go, and then all of a sudden we're going to go and get a race protest, whether it be over flexi wings or something to do with Lewis's car. We don't know yet.
Okay. Yeah. First couple of rounds, there's a bit of that going on, isn't there? Weigh this, weigh that. Have a look at this.
Yeah.
Hopefully Lewis gets it dialed in and it goes all right.
Hopefully. It's just Red Bull were a bit sour because the FIA only put the flexi wing ban in from round 9, I think it is, in Spain, whereas they wanted it from the front for the first race of the season. So they're a bit sour about it at the minute.
Oh, well, they'll just have to get over it, won't they?
Exactly, yeah.
I know for us watching the Grand Prix in Australia, it's going to be Sunday mid-afternoon. What time is it going to be for you watching it over there?
Lights out is 4 a.m. So I'll be setting my alarm, which the missus ain't happy about. She's already told me I might have to sleep on the couch.
At least it's the weekend, though.
Yeah, there is that. I suppose it'll motivate me. I've got a load of gardening to do because we're just going into spring. So she's already told me, if you're up that early, you can go and do the gardening then.
After the race.
Yeah, I ain't doing nothing. It'll be dark. I ain't doing anything that time of morning.
Let's talk about Melbourne before we round it out. Lap-wise, I think last year they set a new lap time, 1:19 something or other.
They did, yeah. Oh, Charlie Leclerc done a 1:19.813. Obviously helped by the fact they took out that chicane in the middle of the lap. Made it a lot quicker.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see that again this year? That time?
I think we'll probably break it again this year, I reckon. I know they've made a couple of tweaks to the circuit after George Russell's huge crash there last year and Albon writing off his Williams. So I think they've moved the barrier back, but they haven't changed the track layout. But I think, the cars are going to be even quicker this year and probably make the most of it this year because I think this is going to be the fastest F1 cars we're going to see for a few years because next year's ones are predicted to be between 3 and 5 seconds a lap slower.
Wow. That much slower. What's the
difference?
What's the difference? Why will it be that much slower?
They're going to be a hell of a lot heavier because of this 50-50 hybrid rubbish that they're putting in, which hopefully now looks like we're only going to have 3 or 4 years of because it looks like they're going to jog it all off in 2030. But the cars are going to be so much heavier. You've got all this active aero stuff, which is going to be fun because they've got to control their own front and rear wings as they're going down the straight so that they're quicker because if it don't work, apparently literally they've got half the power, so they can be very draggy.
Yeah, right. That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it's the right
3 to 5
way.
seconds is a long time. Why don't we put the V12s back in and race with them?
They're talking about V10s. That would be awesome if they did it. They're doing a feasibility study at the moment to see if they put the V10s in there with sustainable fuel because from 26 you've got to have no petrol. It's all sustainable. Yeah. So, you know, if they can pull this off, it's going to be a game changer for the car industry and also for motorsport in general, because we won't need none of this electrification rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah, insane. I know everything's trying to go green, and I'm glad they're going back. It's a race. They're not trying to save on fuel from here to the shop.
Do an economy run. Have we lost you?
Fine.
Can you hear me?
Gotcha. Have you got me
back now? Yeah, you froze then for a second.
Circle of death on the screen there. That's Australian internet. It's not no good at all. Anything else you want to bring up F1 before we shoot out of here?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it all, really. I mean, it's going to be a cracking season. I think this is going to be one of the best seasons we've ever seen. I think there's going to be a changing of the guard this year with a lot of the rookies coming up through the field and the older guard starting to depart the sport. But I think we should just hope for a cracker, no political nonsense, and just enjoy it.
Yeah. That should be good. Looking forward to it. And for us, Aussies, kicks off Thursday at 10 a.m. and we're right through to Sunday afternoon. So massive weekend of motor racing. The V8s, of course, are on as well. I think they've got 4 races over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 4 100K races, I believe. So going to be massive for motorsport fans over the weekend. Again, thanks for coming by the channel, mate. Make sure you go and check out Totally Sports on YouTube, and we'll talk to you again soon, Matt.
Yes, mate, yeah. Thank you very much for having us on, and we'll see you again soon, mate.
Take it easy. See you, mate.
See you later.